much they pumped into like, this is the worst thing ever, and look at this horrible guy, you could never support him. Then they go after him with the legal cases. Then he almost gets his brains blown out on national television. And then after all of that, all the years of he's a Nazi, democracy's over, he's Hitler, the American people go, well, we like him even more now.
Dave Smith was on This Past Weekend with Theo Vaughn to discuss what will be different about Donald Trump's second term. Let's see what Dave Smith has to say.
Trump's that things are going to be different this time. Do you really think that, say there is this deep state, right? Do you think we can really get away from it, or is it just a lost cause? And sometimes it's like, I almost just wish my thing is, I just wish they would, I just want to know. I don't like not knowing. Just tell me. I'll do whatever. I'll do the game. You know what I'm saying? But tell me what the game is. Tell me what the rules are.
I understand that impulse. I think the best part of Trump winning is that it's been the cultural effect of all of it, I think, has been amazing. Like, I really think everything, like, from November to now has just been great. It's been great. There's been this big reset that we needed in America. It's like the corporate media is crumbling, wokeism is receding, like the insane kind of political correctness of the last few years seems to be like largely defeated. I think all of that is great.
It's been a huge sigh of relief too. It's like one big, like finally, like one big exhale. America could exhale again. Shoop, shoop, bedoop.
I think the deep state is going anywhere in the next few years. But that I don't like I'm very optimistic long term. I think that it's easy to say like we're never going to beat this thing and it's always going to be this way. They have so much power, we have so little. But the truth is, like, communism fell. Slavery was abolished. America declared independence from the British monarchy. These things all would have seemed impossible. And you could have easily said, oh, this is just going to be here forever. It's just the way of the world. But it wasn't. Those things are gone now. And I think there's no reason why America can't have like a great kind of a great reformation, a great return to the best things about America, a huge increase in liberty and decrease in awful state corruption. Like, I don't see any reason why that can't happen, especially when they don't have the propaganda machine anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's just interesting. At what point do you think that there could be a revolution in America? Because if people don't trust the FBI now, they don't trust the CIA now, you're not sure that your FBI isn't out to get your own. It's like, what is even like?
It's right. And then on top of that, like, you had, say, someone like Donald Trump. Look, the first time Donald Trump ran, right, all of the political class, all of the media, all of Hollywood, they all said, this guy is unacceptable. You cannot support this guy. He still won, but he also won on like a razor-thin margin, lost the popular vote, and just happened to win the right swing states against Hillary, so there was like a little bit of a caveat. But then after January 6th, with how much they pumped into like, this is the worst thing ever, and look at this horrible guy, you could never support him. Then they go after him with the legal cases. Then he almost gets his brains blown out on national television. And then after all of that, all the years of he's a Nazi, democracy's over, he's Hitler, the American people go, well, we like him even more now. Like, that's just so crazy. Yeah. It's so crazy that there's just trust in every American institution has evaporated. They have nothing. I mean, it's unbelievable that the most famous Hollywood celebrities can't move the needle at all. The entire...
In fact, it's an anti-movement. Yeah. If they get... The second one of them is involved, I'm fucking out,
Well, that's right. It almost like... Well, that is... And I mean, look, even me, I will admit I'm guilty of it too, that I right away, you see another celebrity, they'll be endorsing Kamala Harris tonight. And I'm like, what did you do at the Diddy party? Yeah. What do they got on you? What do you... Like, it's just... There's so much mistrust of the whole thing. And it's, the thing about it is a lot of us, like I said this in our conversation already today at one point. I don't even remember if it was about Russiagate or COVID or what, but I said all those people still have their jobs or whatever. Yeah. If you look at the New York Times or you look at CNN or all these places, they still got people there who sold us the war in Iraq. And they still have their jobs. Like, they didn't get fired. These people make great money. They're still and nothing, but it's like it's something almost like spiritual. There's always a price. even if you think there was no consequence, oh, there is a consequence. And so like, you just think for so many years they lied us into wars, into financial recessions. They lied about everything about COVID. They lied about Russiagate. They lied about all this shit. They lied about Joe Biden not being senile. They lied about Kamala Harris not being retarded. They lied about everything they could think of. Yeah. And there is a price for that. And the price is that no one believes you anymore.
Yeah, not even.
Yeah, I mean, it's the boy who cried wolf. You know, it's such a simple story, the boy who cried wolf, but it teaches such an important lesson that if you just keep lying and lying, eventually, like even if you get away with it the first few times, eventually people are going to start to catch on, and eventually no one's going to believe you anymore. No one's going to trust you. You're selling. When you lie like that constantly, you're every time you lie, you're selling a little bit of people's trust in you away. And there's only so much trust people have in you. And when you're bankrupt of that trust, well, then you lose. What do you think about this so far? Sound off in the comment section below. Smash that like button if you're enjoying. Let's continue.
People that believed you believe you. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Is watching people that were like devout believers come on over and be like, I just don't believe these people. You know?
And there's so many people like that. So like, could there be a revolution? I mean, you know, the American government is still so powerful. It's not like they're getting overthrown anytime soon.
Right.
And
we're not saying that, government.
No, if the government is listening, I've highly recommend everybody follow the law. Yeah. But there's been a revolution in communication already. There's been a revolution in the media. I mean, this happened a while ago, but after this election, they all kind of admit it. They all kind of admit that like, look, like Donald Trump did like your show and Schultz and
that blew
Rogan.
my mind.
And this was a huge factor for him, you know, and I will say, I think particularly yours was, I mean, obviously Rogan's was humongous, but particularly the interview with you saw like a much different side of Donald Trump than I'd ever seen before. And that's crazy. It's crazy that there's been this revolution.
Oh, it's crazy. You know, there hasn't.
Ever since the assassination attempt, Donald Trump could have just worked less, made less appearances, but it seemed like he made even more appearances. He worked even harder after that. And I think that's what won him the election. That was a big thing. The Democrats just took everyone's votes for granted that, oh, okay, as long as we sell Kamala as, yeah, she's a freaking black, strong, independent black woman who don't need no man. And we just, I don't know, continue doing the talking point. She doesn't need to make that many appearances because, well, I think the more appearances she does, it's going to hurt our chances. So if we just keep doing what we're doing, we're going to have the votes. And we're just going to lecture people who we don't have the votes to. Like when Barack Obama was chastising black men for not wanting, or Latino men or whatever, for not wanting to vote for Kamala. But Donald Trump got out there and he actually worked and he made more appearances.
There's not a lot of people where I'm from who even get to ask questions a lot of times.
I don't think
there's not a lot of people where I'm from who ever even get to raise their hand in front of a president and ask a question about something that means something to them. You know, a lot of times, you just get pigeonholed into being some type of way. And so then as a person, as part of even just a group, you start to feel like, well, I don't even fucking exist. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's part of how I always felt my whole life. Nobody gives a fuck about a poor off white kid. Dude, you know what I'm saying? That's the last totally right. fucking group. And so, yeah, I think, I don't know. Well, I don't know what I'm saying, man.
Well, I think it's a really great point. I mean, if you think about it, like at least my whole life, right?
Well, finally we made our own voices because you don't even see that I am a voice. You don't even think I have a fucking voice. And so finally, you don't think I'll work hard enough to fucking put my voice out there.
Dude, they called it flyover country.
Yeah.
That's what they call it, flyover country. And what is flyover country? Everything except New York and LA.
I know.
Right? The whole rest of this annoying country that you got to fly over on your way from New York to LA. If you think about like when we grew up, me and you grew up in the era of the TV. Yeah. We didn't watch shit on YouTube and stuff, you know, this didn't exist. We watched what was on TV, and TV was made in New York and LA.
Yeah.
That's where it was made. And every show, whether it was Seinfeld or Friends or whatever, it was all these shows were about living in a city on the coast, and they were about people who live there. And then just think about how bizarre that is. You have this giant country that occupies the middle part of North America called the United States of America. It's this huge country, and you only have representation from these two coastal cities. And this has now been totally blown open where it's like, yeah, I think for the first time, people in the middle of the country, in the south of the country, can actually have a voice. And why shouldn't they when there's tens of millions of people who like fall into those categories?
Yeah.
Look, it's crazy to me being in stand-up comedy. It's been a total revolution since when I started. Like the path for how you become successful is so different. Podcasts weren't a thing when I first started. And so having a revolution in government, that still seems like we're not there, but there has been a huge cultural revolution over the last 15 years.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the internet and social media and stuff were game changers. I mean, that's why the government tried to control what's going on in social media and what's being put up on YouTube and stuff, because they know how strong, it's a way of giving a people, the people who don't have voices, a voice. People who wouldn't be put on your television or, of the legacy media, if you will, are given voices on these platforms. And that's why they work so hard to control it. And now our side, which was seen as fringe or whatever, now it's more of the mainstream now. You've seen a huge shift. So I completely agree 100% with Dave Smith here. Good clip here from this past weekend with Theo Von. What did you guys think about what Dave Smith had to say today? Sound off in the comments section below. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoy content like this. You'll be helping me out a lot. And if you do, I have a whole screen of goodies for you to click on and enjoy.